Week 16, we're here. Fantasy football implications on the line in the playoffs. We've got Saturday football, Sunday football, and Monday football. And it's time to find some winners. We are due for a complete, real show sweep. This is the Player Profiler Pick and Power Hour, starting now. Welcome back to the Player Profiler Pick and Power Hour. We are now, for the rest of the season, if you haven't noticed, only streaming on YouTube and Facebook on Fridays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you are listening as a podcast, it's probably on Saturday morning before there's some action today in the NFL. We're coming off the closest thing we have had to a full show sweep all season long, and it's weird because we've dominated the underdog pick generator, which you can get as part of the DFS Dominator on our website. We've dominated our leans of 15 to 20 picks almost every single week. And last week, we were actually pretty mediocre, 7-8-1, but we almost picked the 4 that won. And Mitchell Trubisky had other ideas. If you are watching live on stream, you get to see me screen sharing the entry that lost, which was Pat Freiermuth, higher than 3 receptions. Sam Laporta higher than 46.5 receiving yards. Freiermuth was targeted twice when he was completely wide open, and the one that I remember distinctly was in the first half. He had a first down, and Mitchell Trubisky yanked the ball 10 yards to the left. So that basically summarized the week.
I understand. I had one of those last night. I had Cooper Kupp, first TD, watched him drop the first TD pass. That was painful. So when you see it go into him, it's there. Ahaan and I were joking. He's like, he missed him by 10 yards. I was like, it's more like 12 to 15. Like that was bad. So Pat actually gets to get the Bengals. He gets the nuts tight end matchup this week. Yep. Hopefully Rudolph, he's gonna have like 7 receptions just to make fun of us this week now.
Absolutely. And I know it's going to happen. I'm not going back to him this week. I'm more on the Deontay Johnson train, but I'm definitely on the don't touch anything to do with Mason Rudolph train. And this one, I do think this is the kind of game that Mike Tomlin, pulls out some of his voodoo and perhaps wins the game outright against the Bengals. But I have no interest in using my limelight on the show, using our platform to go after the Steelers right now. But when you're in trouble, you can always rely on a good old Rachaad White. Trevor, you have the floor because you are back in the winning column.
Yeah, that it's just he's a guy. He's done it all year. What can I say? I mean, he's fantasy MVP. I would argue he's the fantasy MVP this year based upon ADP. There, of course, Kyrene's been a monster as of late. Puka's been a monster, and they're going to help win leagues. But overall, through the whole season, from a fantasy standpoint, from a show standpoint, I mean, we have to say, right? Rachaad White gets our MVP vote of the season. Here's a question. How much do Russ and Sean Payton really dislike each other? Like because it's like getting pretty contemptuous over there watching them like talk to each other. And I don't think Payton's ever had anybody that didn't listen to him before. Like just shut up and just said, no matter what he said, where I think Russ used to having a lot more say. So I think there's some struggles there. But he got us to, even in there, just shellacking that Detroit gave them. He got us there. I'm very happy for that. We will take that and run, and you will probably not see me on any more Russell Wilson DFS / plot plays the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Get in, get out. He gave us the winner. Thank you for your service. Rachaad White, he's definitely our show MVP. And if we made a all MVP fantasy team for the season. And I feel like Puka Nacua is the obvious one that goes at the wide receiver slot. Rachaad White definitely a contender for the running back spot. And have to give a shout out to our boy David Montgomery for the season long as well. Early season wagon. Can't forget about good old David Montgomery. Week 15 was actually better than I anticipated because obviously, we started the week right with this Broncos-Lions game. I was on the Lions. You were on Russell Wilson. We got the best of both worlds. And my takeaway from that game was the Lions are – I cannot state enough how bad the Lions defense is. And it ties back into the one game that we had yesterday in week 16. And if you missed out on our Discord, we gave out a 2-pick collab entry and it cashed on Derek Carr interception and Kyren Williams lower on rushing plus receiving yards, which got a little sweaty. I will say if that lost, I would have come out and said that was my pick. Got a little sweaty, a little unnecessary. Guy's been a monster all season long. And my takeaway from that Lions game and yesterday's Rams game is the Rams are going to beat the Lions in the playoffs if they face off in the first round. And it's going to be hilarious when Matthew Stafford does that. Playing in Detroit, it's going to be the ultimate quote-unquote revenge narrative. But the Rams are going to beat the Lions if that happens. And I would be happy to see the Rams do that. This is a team that I thought for the first time in this Stafford era that they were going to be pretty bad this year. Entering the season, this was the team I was most wrong about. I thought they'd win 4 or 5 games. But shout out to them. Their offense looks damn near as surgical, if not even better, than they did the Super Bowl year when they had Odell. So shout out Puka and shout out the squad.
I totally agree there. And I want them to win because it means my Niners, who should have the first seed, will get the Rams. And, we kind of own McVay for the most part. So I would not cry about that. I want to talk about the game last night. I said it to everybody. I said it to Ahaan. I threw a challenge at him. My issue with New Orleans is they haven't played anybody for 7 weeks. Like, they have played no quarterback. Goff is the best quarterback they've played. Literally the best quarterback they have, right? It's literally like what I don't know. I want to come up with a word. Like, what's the word for like the anti-murderers row? Like, whatever like the anti-murderers row is, that's who they've faced. Yeah. They just haven't faced anybody, and then it showed last night. The Rams were able to expose spots on them, and then Derek Carr was who we think Derek Carr is. Did his job for us, got that interception, and we will take our money and say thank you very much, underdog.
Absolutely. And I did fall into the Saints trap yesterday. If you saw on Twitter, I was on the Saints. It was the first bet I lost on a primetime game since Thanksgiving Day, which was in week 12. And that's
we got to get that a clap. I don't think everybody understands. That's a streak, boys and girls. That is very, very hot.
I appreciate you, but Derek Carr humbled me a little bit. And the Saints defense, and like you said, they faced absolutely nobody, and they finally got exposed. And honestly, they could have given up 50 if Cooper Kupp didn't get hit on the shoulder twice and dropped 2 footballs. So the Rams were nearing 50-point territory. So the Saints definitely not it on either side of the football, and the Rams definitely. If you think of the tier 1 contenders, it's the 49ers and in some sense the Cowboys, the Eagles, etc. But I kind of view them as tier 2. And then if there's any sort of fringe teams that people still consider, in the fringe of contention, the Rams are definitely what I would call the bottom tier of the quote unquote contenders row. So I think they're going to win a playoff game, and Kyren Williams has been an absolute revelation. The Rams have 2 stories, which will tell you that it's okay to adjust your priors, which is Puka Nacua and Kyren Williams, right? Kyren Williams, small guy, almost undrafted, right? Went very late in the draft. Didn't have a great prospect profile, but is thriving for now at least. I think he will be overpriced next year, but he's having a great season. And then Puka Nacua, I think just in general, is the guy that Cooper Kupp is passing the torch. And although he may not be as impressive of a prospect as Cooper Kupp, and maybe the ceiling is slightly lower, he is someone that in Dynasty, if you can swap him for JSN and people are like, still sticking to their priors that Jackson Smith-Njigba is the consensus wide receiver one, and he's this alpha. It's best to go to PlayerProfiler.com, look at their player pages right now, and say, yeah, Jackson Smith-Njigba might not be that guy, but Puka definitely is. So the Rams have given us two of those stories. But it's time for Week 16. We got a huge slate. We got holidays coming up. We've got football in the daytime and the nighttime, and we're about to hit up the Underdogs pick'em board. And if you want to tail us, you can join us live and head over to Underdog. If you're a new user, you can use promo code Underworld upon entry. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100 US when you sign up. And after this show is over, you could head over to the Player Profiler Network. And tonight, Memphis Young, our boy, will cover the betting side of these games for the rest of the Week 16 slate on The Juice. So if you want the betting side, head over to Memphis Young show later tonight. But right now, we're about to get into the pick'em board for Week 16. And before we do, let's hear a quick word from the Podfather.
DFS getting harder every year, but we're here to make it easier with the DFS Dominator because I know a lot of optimizers keep coming out. Oh, our optimizer. What about this optimizer? But that optimizer. Well, we have a cash game optimizer that leverages the projections from Dario, Billy, the award-winning projections at PlayerProfiler.com, and builds the best lineups for cash games that have both upside and stability, because that's what you want. It's a couple clicks, boom, boom, boom. You get the best possible lineup for your cash games. But for tournaments, traditional optimizers don't work. That's why we have a Lineup Genius, which takes you through the process of building lineups the way they should be built. Which quarterbacks you want to be overweight on, then building stacks, then setting runbacks, then optimizing, and generating up to 150 lineups that you can easily import into DraftKings, into FanDuel. That's the DFS Dominator. It's only $45 a year, not a week, a year. Just go to Player Profiler, click on the DFS Dominator from the menu, and you won't be sorry.
We're back on the Player Profiler Pick and Power Hour, where we're about to come up with some pick 'em entries for the Underdog slate on Week 16 for the NFL. You can tail us using promo code Underworld, and if you're live in chat, you could ask us your questions, fantasy questions, pick 'em questions, whatnot. We're going to get right into it. The DFS Dominator has the Underdog pick generator, and you can get, be a part of that. It's probably too late in the season for you to take full advantage of the DFS Dominator, but for next year, along with all your lineup questions, you can also get the Underdog pick generator. And for Week 16, we have 18 early leans for that up on the pick generator this week. So if you want to get in your entries soon, get them in now before the projections move. But right now, we're going to talk about our favorite entries. And Trevor, you have the board to start us off.
We're going to an ugly game, and we're going to game stack this week. We're going to go to the Jets and Commanders, and we're going to start with we'll go with Garrett Wilson here. And this is just simple math for me. Wilson has delivered this entire year, despite his quarterback play. I can't even fathom the year Wilson would be having if Rodgers was it. He would be having it. He would be having a DA, type of year. I think he would be at the top of every league leaderboard. I think he would have just been breaking stuff because we've seen what he's done with just guys who can't throw, guys who are throwing high, low, outside, inside, the revolving door of the Jets quarterback situation, which wasn't his own. And he's continued to deliver week in and week out. He's gone higher than this line in 8 out of 10. So we really like that side of it for him. He's been, again, and what is like pretty much the dream matchup when you go to throw a passing offense? You want to go against the Washington Commanders. They're literally the gift that keeps on giving. Garrett is currently averaging 10.2 targets and 5.8 receptions over the last 10. And if we take out the Denver game, which was really bad for the Jets, that goes up to he's averaging 6.1 receptions. So we like that quite a bit. This is a good spot. Now we're talking about the Commanders. They've allowed the third most passing yards a game at 276.5. We know their weakness is their secondary. They have allowed the top playmakers on every team to just torch them. Cooper Kupp, Lockett, Metcalf. This is how bad they are. Juju and Drake London both have more than 6 receptions against the Redskins. And as we know, Juju has been on the struggle bus with Ahaan's pass this year. So this is one of the uglier games of the week that, hey, I probably wouldn't turn into otherwise, but value is value. This is currently 4.5 at minus 175 at sportsbooks. We like it that it's going up to the 5. Worst case scenario is probably pushes, but you've seen he's continued on the show for us to have 8 catches, 9 catches, 7 catches, 8 catches. And in this spot, Simeon is going to target him. He's going to have to, and they're going to take advantage of that Redskins secondary.
And tying back to, the preseason takes, I take my L's when I'm wrong, and I take my W's when I'm very right. The Jets fans who came at me for saying that Garrett Wilson is the only good pass catcher in this offense, like, where are you now? Allen Lazard a couple of weeks ago was a healthy scratch. Like, what were we doing when you told me that Allen Lazard is a wide receiver 2 in this league? This is the only man to throw to. I love it.
There's one option. Like, that's it. Like, we're going to throw him the ball, or we're going to throw him the ball. Oh yeah. Hey, in case you aren't wondering, throw him the ball. Like, it's just, and that's what we're looking for I don't want to tie it to his yards. I don't want to have it there. I want to tie it to his receptions. We're going to stay in the game. Our boy, Sammy Howell, that was so hot this season, fantasy darling, got benched last week. And our boy, Curtis Samuel, still delivered higher on his receptions. Despite all his quarterback play, he's continued to be there. So we're going higher than 3.5 receptions here. Now, I get it's the Jets. And the Jets, from a secondary standpoint, they've given up the 3rd least amount of yards. However, they are struggling against slot receivers because Sauce isn't there, in my opinion. So I think Samuel's not going to have a problem finding open space and making plays versus them. Here's what I love. He's been averaging 6.5 targets a game and 4.6 receptions during his recent 10-game stretch. Like, that's what I'm looking for on that line. Player Profiler models him to 5.1 in this matchup in a game which, the Commanders are almost always going to be in a negative game script, even against the Jets. And this is a game, Terry, while F1 has been great this year, he's probably going to see a good amount of Sauce. And with Sauce on him, we're going to have, I think we're going to see Samuel be the safety blanket, whether he gets pulled during the game and it's Brissett. I think this is just, don't overthink it. We're in week 16. We know who's getting volume now. And I want to take advantage of this. And a game, like I said, that honestly, I would not pay attention to otherwise.
We all know that Ron Rivera should probably be a family man at this point of his career. But one of the few safety nets that we have recently is the emergence of Curtis Samuel, who, by the way, I liked a lot when he was tied to Carson Wentz, and is just a good full circle experience. Coming back to Curtis Samuel at the end of the year with Sam Howell at quarterback, hopefully for a full game and in a close game, presumably with this low total and close spread. I love it. And for the culture, I will tail for a little sprinkle myself. Before I get into my own entry, and I'm going to start with some Saturday games. So we do have Saturday action this week, and I'm starting with a Saturday game, and I'm coming at you with another stack. We're bringing back the stack, and I'm bringing back a quarterback wide receiver duo here. And I know we're on the same page on this because I saw you for the Underdog Pick Generator sent me this receiver. And I was exactly on the same page. And if we're on the same page, we're probably right based on what we've done this season. So I'm tying Josh Allen with Stefon Diggs in this game. I'm taking Josh Allen higher than 22.5 completions and Stefon Diggs higher than 6 receptions. Again, just like with Freiermuth, we didn't get on the sports books, it ended up at 3.5. But we didn't get the 4th. We got the 3. We got the push potential. So we didn't lose anything since he landed on 3. So even if Stefon Diggs lands at 6, we're not ruining the rest of the entry. And that leg will just void. But Here's why we're going after Josh Allen. We're getting a buy low, the ultimate buy low, because in his last game, he completed 7 passes, 7 completions. And that was against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, you look at why this happened. The game started. The new offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, said, okay, we're going to pass the ball. Okay, we're going to run the ball. And then James Cook just started running wild all over the place in the first quarter and having the game of his life. Joe Brady, after the game, said, I wanted this to be a pass-first game for Josh Allen because we want Josh Allen to be a pass-first quarterback. We want this offense to be pass-first, but I saw that the run game was working, and I said, you know what? We're going to keep doing it until it doesn't work. And it just kept working. So they stuck with a running narrative in this game, and the Bills won by 20. I understand this is potentially a blowout, but in this game, I think the only way that the Bills actually blow out the Chargers and do their job is if they find success with Josh Allen passing the ball. They're going to do it early and often. And the Chargers, they have been, along with the Lions, along with the Lions and the Commanders, they've been one of the worst passing defenses in the NFL. And firing Brandon Staley may inspire the squad, but they're still not going to be good at football. None of these players are good at football. And you look at what opposing quarterbacks have done against the Chargers this season on the pass completions, a few to name: Tua Tagovailoa 28, Ryan Tannehill 20, Kirk Cousins 32, Aiden O'Connell 24 and 20 the last game in that blowout, Dak Prescott 21, Mahomes 32. But then it gets crazy. Tyson Bagent 25, Zach Wilson 33, Jared Goff 23, Jordan Love 27, Russell Wilson 21. So most of the quarterbacks are going off against his number 27 ranked dropback EPA per play pass defense, and Allen has hit this completions projection in 8 out of 14. So now is the time to buy low, and I'm going to tie it with Stefon Diggs. If Josh Allen is going to be pass first in this game, it's probably because Stefon Diggs is eating as well. There's simply no matchup for Stefon Diggs on the Chargers, and he has had at least 10 targets in 8 of his 14 games, at least 6 receptions in 10 of 14, and at least 7 in 6 of 14. This is the kind of game where this used to be the wagon last year was Amon-Ra St. Brown for me. He used to hit the 6 receptions projection by the first half. I think we see something similar with Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs in this one. And to tie it all together, since we do have to pair this with an entry that is not a Buffalo Bill, I am going to TJ Hockenson in the ultimate revenge narrative. The revenge narrative stuff gets overblown at times, but I'm going to tie this back into the whole Stafford stuff. He was traded from the Lions to the Vikings, and I'm going to take the higher on receiving yards here because, like I said, the Lions, they allow a lot of explosive pass plays. I think even with only 5 receptions, he can clear this line. But the key here is also the volume with Nick Mullins. I'm high on Nick Mullins this week, and that's not because I like the player. It's because I like the spot. He has a healthy Justin Jefferson, and all the defensive attention is obviously going to be on him. Jordan Addison's coming off a nice game. But Nick Mullins entering this year, his target share to tight ends was 24.5%. Since 2018, that's the 12th highest among all quarterbacks with at least 100 tight end targets. So this is a guy that loves targeting his tight ends. And of course, we'll see a little Josh Oliver, but TJ Hockenson is obviously still the man. This is a spot where TJ Hockenson, this is the game for him to hit 100 receiving yards. And the last time, the one time he faced off against his former team last year was with Kirk Cousins, and he had 77 receiving yards. Josh Allen higher than 22.5 completions. Stefon Diggs higher than 6 receptions. And TJ Hockenson higher than 52.5 receiving yards by half a unit, 3-piece.
I like it. One of the things I actually really like about that there is the Chargers, after the shellacking they just took, are officially the worst pass defense in the NFL. They have given up 4 more yards than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then if you go across ADOT, air yards, right, they're just at the bottom of the NFL and all of that. Ken Dorsey would have never just kept riding James Cook like that. They would have tried to force the ball. And again, they know they're going to need Josh to pass in the playoffs. This is a great spot to do it. And I like Nick Mullins as well this week, so I like the Hawk play. I'm actually having to roll Nick out in a few spots where CJ Stroud is just got officially announced that he is out this week. Rip all my playoff teams that he helped carry me there on. But I like Hawk here. That yardage is too low in that matchup.
DFS championships are about to be won on the backs of Jake Browning and Nick Mullins, and I am all for it. just to review for our picks today. So my three-piece, Josh Allen higher than 22.5 completions, and Stefon Diggs higher than 6 receptions, with TJ Hockenson higher than 52.5 receiving yards. And then for Trevor's entry, Garrett Wilson higher than 5 receptions, Curtis Samuel higher than 5 receptions, or higher than 3.5 receptions. The game stack in a game you might not watch otherwise. So I absolutely love it. If we sweep this week, it's going to be a 5-pick sweep. It's going to happen, right? Like, let's try the strategy of just saying it's going to happen. I'm already looking forward to posting both the entries green. We're going to go 18-0 on the underdog pick generator because we're built like that. It's week 16. We have to be built like that, and we will. That's just how it's going to be.
I'm going to play it as an official 5 play myself. That's how confident I am this week. So, and then tonight,
what? You're a bad influence, but I'm going to do that too.
I'm going to give a quick promo. 2 hours from now, if you are playing DFS, I'm going to be on with Chase on this channel. We're going to be doing a show breaking down the different DFS slates because, right, we have 3 DFS slates this weekend. So in 2 hours, we're going to jump on. We'll be on for about an hour and give you guys a breakdown of the different options and a first look.
All the shows coming at you in week 16, DFS show. Go join Trevor and Chase, and then check out the juice tonight for the betting aspect of week 16. But for now, we will see you once again, not on Wednesday, but on Friday for the week 17 edition after we give you a 5-0 sweep.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you, allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.